Good morning, everyone, and happy July 4th. In this week's Torah portion, we find that Moses prays to God and says, God, please appoint a new leader who will be my successor in taking the Jewish people into the land of Israel. And God says, okay, appoint Joshua, your disciple, to be the one who will carry the Jewish people forth into the land of Israel. But Rashi quotes the rabbis who say, why did Moses ask at this point, at this juncture? And the rabbis answer that the story right before Moses' request was the story of the daughters of Tzlafchad, a man who had no sons, and the daughters came to Moses and said, the law is that only sons inherit land in Israel from their father. Our father didn't have any sons, only daughters. Why should we not inherit his land? And Moses spoke to God, and God said, they're right, they should inherit. They're the daughters, they should inherit. And therefore daughters also inherit, just like sons. When Moses heard this, he said, this is my chance to pray for a successor. Why? Because Moses was hoping that his sons, Gershon and Eliezer, would be his successors. So he said, if the daughters of Tzlafchad inherit their father's land, shouldn't my sons be the ones to succeed me? And God says, I'm sorry, no. It will be Joshua. Why? Because Joshua was the one who was the most diligent student. He toiled in the tent of his teacher Moses, and therefore he earned the right. Because in Judaism, it is a meritocracy. The one who is most deserving is the one who is the successor, the one who inherits. And therefore, Moses, you will not merit to see your children because they did not earn that position through their diligence and toil as Joshua did, and therefore he will be the successor. Today is July 4th, and of course we celebrate July 4th, the day of our independence. America is a wonderful country, a country of benevolence and kindness and generosity. It welcomes so many Jews into its land, and as Jews and as Americans, it's a wonderful day. But what I love most about America is that America stands for the most important Jewish value, which is freedom and opportunity. That every human being is given free choice, and therefore we can choose our path in life. There's nothing that dictates or determines or predetermines what we're going to be. Every American child grows up with the belief, I could be anyone I want to be. I could be anything. I could come from a poor home, but I could become rich. I could become the greatest athlete. I could become the most famous person. There's no restrictions, there's no limit on the mind and the imagination of an American child. It's ingrained in the psyche and the DNA of every child in this country that you can become anything you want. Your past does not restrict you or hold you back. And that's the message of Joshua. Joshua chose to be devoted to the study and the teacher of Moses, and therefore he inherits and becomes the next Moses, the next greatest leader of the Jewish people. When we look at the story just of our synagogue, Palm Beach Synagogue, I remember when we started in 1994, this year we're celebrating our 30th year. There were people who said to us, you can't build a traditional synagogue in Palm Beach. There are no religious Jews there who are interested in a traditional synagogue, an Orthodox synagogue. There were others who told me, you can't build a synagogue like Palm Beach Synagogue in Palm Beach. Palm Beach Synagogue has the history of anti-Semitism. You won't be welcome there. There were those who said, well, Palm Beach is such a materialistic place. I remember that when we were looking to design the windows of the synagogue, we wrote to different artists saying, what should we put on our windows? We're known now for our very famous, beautiful stained glass windows with menorahs and Magen Davids. But one artist jokingly wrote back and said, where is your synagogue in Palm Beach? You should put on your windows different beautiful stained glass windows with Christian Dior, Chanel, Gucci. Thinking Palm Beach, that's all people are interested in. Well, 30 years later, we've shown that the Jewish soul beats strong here in Palm Beach. And with over 600 families, Jews from all backgrounds said, we want to learn, we want to connect with our Jewish identity. Even if I wasn't raised with observance, even if I wasn't raised with connection to Yiddishkeit, with knowledge, I may come from a different background, but I'm an American. I can choose to be anything I want. I could learn. I could discover my Jewish heritage. I could start doing mitzvot. I could start lighting Shabbos candles. I could start eating kosher, I could start putting on tefillin. There's nothing that could hold us back. And that's a very Jewish thought and a very Jewish belief that you could be anyone and anything you want to be. And coming back from Israel now, that's something we Americans share with Israelis. Israelis have that mindset. We've always had that mindset because it's a Jewish mindset. And therefore Israel had the courage to stand up in the middle of the Middle East and say, we are going to come back to our homeland. And despite all the obstacles, we're free. It's the land of opportunity. We never had such an opportunity in 2,000 years. We're going to take this opportunity and return to Eretz Yisrael. When we were just now in Israel, we went to the northern border and we visited the tunnels that Hezbollah dug, that they spent 17 years digging through the rock from Lebanon to try to infiltrate and penetrate Israel. When Israel discovered and detected this, they obviously filled it with cement, but they left half the tunnel open for people to come and see what our enemies were willing to do, to tunnel underground to try to infiltrate and attack Israel. And we all climbed down into this tunnel, and we went down 20 stories deep into this tunnel. When we were all the way at the end of the tunnel, we started to sing the song, Kol Holam Kulo, the whole wide world is a very narrow bridge. And the main thing, lo lefached, not to fear at all. But instead of saying the whole wide world is a very narrow bridge, we sang the whole wide world is a very narrow tunnel. The main thing is not to fear. We have freedom, we have opportunity. We're in the image of God. As God is free, we as human beings are free. But the thing that holds us back is fear. And therefore, as Jews and as Americans, we know if we want freedom and we want opportunity in our lives, we have to be able to take it. But the main thing is, lo lefached klal, never to be afraid, because fear is what holds us back from seizing our destiny, our freedom, and our opportunity. Have a wonderful July 4th.